We all didn't expect this, of course, but I feel like with God, anything possible, everything possible. I don't feel like this happened, you know, for no reason. All this is of course, fuel to the fire. And under no circumstance, we all know this shouldn't have happened. But we understand we're on the bigger and better things. Tomorrow's the day. We're going to be happy regardless. Legendary. Ooh.
Shadeur Sanders, why did he go so late in the draft?
It's a good question. I wasn't a part of any evaluation process or to
Skip Bayless
see
says
that.
otherwise.
That's the problem with media is everyone can just say whatever the f they want. I actually texted Shadeur because I know him very well. And I said, dude, whatever happens, wherever you go, that's your first day. Day 2 matters more than the draft. I was 199. Who could speak on it better than me? Like what that really means. Use it as motivation. You're gonna get your chances, go take advantage of it.
He shows up at the scouting combine, he doesn't work out. Oh, the meetings, it was the arrogance and all of this other stuff. I'm saying forget all of that. I believe that the biggest issue in all of this was primetime Deion Sanders and the thought of having to deal with him.
That's the plan. If that's not what you're trying to do, don't get me. If you ain't trying to change the franchise or the culture, don't get me. So you should know history repeats itself over and over and over. And I've done it over and over and over, so it should be no question why an NFL franchise should pick me.
GOAT NFL team.
Whoever picks me.
GOAT athlete.
Shadeur Sanders.
GOAT musician.
Deion Sanders Jr.
GOAT actor.
Deion Sanders.
GOAT TV show.
Coach Prime.
Give us your best SI cover pose.
Yeah.
What if I told you the NFL didn't just pass on Shadeur Sanders, they planned it? From secret meetings to shady power plays, this draft drama runs deep. And guess who's at the center of it all? Tom Brady. Buckle up, because this isn't just football. This is real life Game of Thrones, NFL edition. Hit that subscribe button and stick around till the end, because we've got the full play-by-play and the receipts to back it up. So what is going on in these NFL draft sheets? Because Shadeur Sanders' draft story, this thing is a whole roller coaster, and not the fun kind. So here's the tea. Shadeur didn't just get picked late, he got scooped up in the 5th round, 144th overall by the Cleveland Browns. And yeah, that was already shocking enough, but behind the scenes, it's giving sabotage.
The Cleveland Browns select Shadeur Sanders, quarterback, Colorado.
The reaction in the draft hall says it all.
I want to thank the Cleveland Browns and the GM Andrew Berry for drafting me and giving me an opportunity to fulfill my dreams of playing in the NFL. But I'm going to have to decline this draft pick because they drafted Dylan Gabriel before me, and I will not be embarrassed like that. I'm not some 3rd or 4th string quarterback you can just bring in to be made fun of. Not to mention Cleveland is a boring-ass city, as everyone knows. Even their own LeBron Diddy James left that city to go to Los Angeles. When he wasn't at the games, we used to turn up.
Really?
I'd be beefing with the whole sideline of those. We was out there just doing whatever we wanted.
I was watching TV and I had the phone. I was calling, put him on the phone. Wait till I get back up again.
There'll be this chip on his shoulder, and beware, because this guy's going to play in this league.
Word is Tom Brady was allegedly playing puppet master with some NFL executives and team owners, plotting to blackball Shadeur from the inside. And here's the wild part. Tom actually trained with Shadeur before the draft. Imagine that, gassing someone up like a proud mentor, only to allegedly help ice them out when it mattered most. Like, what? And just when it couldn't get any shadier, Tom finally decided to respond. But let's be real, it was not giving wise, caring mentor energy. The vibe? Cold, calculated, not cute.
Look at me. You know I love you, right? You love your dad?
Yes.
You love your mom?
Yes.
It's okay to love both of us. You hear me? You don't have to love me and hate her, or love her and hate me. You don't have to. It's okay. I love all my kids. The love I have for you is special, baby.
Why?
Nobody could take it because God created you separate. You your own entity, baby. You are Shadeur Sanders.
Don't you like everybody the same?
I don't like everybody the same.
So you like Shao less than you like me?
I love all y'all different. I love different attributes that you have. You're my son, dude. You got a wonderful, giving, loving, caring heart. That's who you are. I miss you, boy. Come here. You're a good kid. You got a great heart. Don't you? 1, 2, 3, 4. That's what it.
All right, you good. My bad. I was hoping that was Shadeur.
Now rewind a bit. For months, Shadeur was hyped up as a top quarterback pick. Scouts and fans were buzzing, maybe late first round, maybe early second. Even with Colorado's messy season, folks still saw the raw talent. Nobody could deny it. But when the draft day rolled around, man, the silence was loud.
My question was, when he led college football in completion percentage and he threw almost 40 touchdowns for over 4,000 yards, how tall was he? Because they make it seem like he shrunk all of a sudden. How lively was his arm? Because all I know is somebody did that. Somebody threw for over 4,000 yards, somebody threw for almost 40 touchdowns, and somebody led college football in completion percentage. Now, I'm trying to figure out is how a guy that hadn't played football in almost 5 months, how he slides down the draft board. Look at the tape. All I know is this. His offensive line was average at best. Yes, he's going to have to do a better job of getting rid of the football because he takes far too many sacks, and sometimes the sack is not always the offensive line. But now all of a sudden he's too short, he's too slow. It's more than just a physical talent to play that position.
Shadeur sat there waiting and waiting, and that phone, it stayed silent until the 5th round. Pick 144. That's when the call finally came. The mood shift, you could feel it. It wasn't excitement, it was heartbreak. And just when things couldn't get more disrespectful, someone actually prank called him pretending to be a draft rep. Yep, someone really thought that was funny. They even faked being Mickey Loomis from the Saints. Can you imagine? One minute you're holding on to hope, the next you're getting punked on a draft night.
We all didn't expect this, of course, but I feel like with God, anything possible, everything possible. I don't feel like this happened, for no reason. All this is of course, fuel to the fire. And under no circumstance, we all know this shouldn't have happened. But we understand we're on the bigger and better things. Tomorrow's the day. We're going to be happy regardless. Legendary. Ooh.
And here's where the fingers started pointing, straight at Tom Brady. See, it wasn't just that he trained with Shadeur. People were saying he had influence, like actual input in NFL decision rooms. Some say he was sitting right there, helping decide Shadeur's fate.
GOAT NFL team.
Whoever picks me.
GOAT athlete.
Shadeur Sanders.
GOAT musician.
Deion Sanders Jr.
GOAT actor.
Deion Sanders.
GOAT TV show.
Coach Prime.
Give us your best SI cover pose.
Yeah.
Now here's the plot twist. Skip Bayless. Yes, that's Skip, Tom Brady's biggest cheerleader. He jumped online and broke character. He started asking why Brady's team kept passing on Shadeur over and over. Skip even dropped the receipts reminding folks that Brady trained with him and was allegedly involved in the Raiders' draft moves.
I saw a post, I think from AB. You were just making sure that he was getting to his psych appointments. What's your relationship like with Antonio?
I saw a spark in him that I thought, if put in the right place, how incredible it could be for not just the team he was on, but for his life and what he could accomplish. We picked him up at the Patriots and he played one game. The next week in practice, we didn't have an incompletion the entire week. Like, that's basically unheard of. And we released him Friday afternoon. And then he came back after a suspension in Tampa. And then I just thought, okay, if I can help him, I'd love to help him because he'd help our team, it'd help his life, and I always root for the best.
That tweet sent shockwaves. If Skip's questioning Brady, then something's definitely off. People on Twitter were connecting the dots fast, saying maybe that whole training session was really just Tom scouting the competition, then whispering in the right ears to keep Shadeur off the board. Is it messy? Absolutely. Too wild to believe? Honestly, not really. All right, let's talk about a whole different layer to the Shadeur Sanders drama, the attitude talk. So apparently one of the big red flags teams were whispering about behind the scenes was that Shadeur was coming off a little too confident. According to NFL insiders, he didn't exactly give off humble and coachable vibes during pre-draft interviews and workouts. In fact, one report claimed that 3 teams straight up took him off their draft board just based on how he carried himself. If he played another position, maybe it wouldn't have been a big deal, but he's a quarterback. And in the NFL, that comes with all the leadership expectations. Teams want someone who can be the face of the franchise, not someone giving what they call diva energy. Meanwhile, other quarterbacks like Cam Ward and Jalen Milroe were being praised as mature, respectful, and team-first type leaders. Compared to that, Shadeur's confidence was rubbing people the wrong way.
We just found out the real reason why Shadeur Sanders fell out of the first round. Back during the college football season, Shadeur Sanders was projected to be a top 5 pick, and falling out of the first round entirely seemed impossible. But fast forward to the NFL draft, and even the New York Giants took Jackson Dart over Shadeur Sanders, and now we know the real reason why.
He shows up at the scouting combine. He doesn't work out. Oh, the meetings, it was the arrogance and all of this other stuff. I'm saying forget all of that. I believe that the biggest issue in all of this was primetime Deion Sanders and the thought of having to deal with him.
But it's not just Deion's antics. According to multiple reports, Shadeur Sanders had absolutely terrible interviews. I know Shadeur can be cocky sometimes, he's super flashy, and sometimes it's a little too much, but seriously? Look, Shadeur doesn't have the best arm in the world, but everything else is there. But that doesn't change the fact that...
That's the plan. If that's not what you're trying to do, don't get me. If you ain't trying to change the franchise or the culture, don't get me. So you should know history repeats itself over and over and over, and I've done it over and over and over, so it should be no question why an NFL franchise should pick me.
And let's be real, the NFL is still super traditional. They don't care if you've got 1 million Instagram followers or flashy NIL deals. They care if you look, act, and sound like the guy they can put on a billboard next to the team logo. Still, someone close to the situation made it clear they didn't buy into the whole diva narrative. They said they'd seen Shadeur inside those team environments and didn't think he was a problem at all. The whole "he's a diva" label, they thought it had zero truth to it. Shadeur himself even made it clear he's not just here to play nice, he's here to change the game. He made it known that if a team doesn't want to shift the culture or go bold, then they're not the right fit for him. He talked about how history repeats itself and that he's done the work over and over again to prove why NFL teams should pick him. As far as the critics, he brushed that off too, basically saying they hated on his dad, and now they're doing the same thing to him. Now here's where things start getting extra spicy. Fans have been speculating that Tom Brady wasn't just mentoring Shadeur before the draft, he might have been quietly sizing him up. Like instead of helping the kid shine, maybe he was scouting the threat. Because let's be honest, Shadeur's got it. The arm, the confidence, the star power. And if he landed on the right team with the right support, he could start winning rings and maybe even threaten the whole Brady is the GOAT legacy.
Shadeur Sanders, why did he go so late in the draft?
It's a good question. I wasn't a part of any evaluation process or to
Skip Bayless
see
says
that.
otherwise.
That's the problem with media is everyone can just say whatever the they want. I actually texted Shadeur because I know him very well. And I said, dude, whatever happens, wherever you go, that's your first day. Day 2 matters more than the draft. I was 199. Who could speak on it better than me? Like what that really means. Use it as motivation. You're gonna get your chances. Go take advantage of it.
I ain't walking out there. I can't go out there yet. It's a good ball. Oh yeah, y'all gotta tell Coach Stefanski happy birthday. Y'all supposed to bring a cake to practice.
So now folks are asking, was Tom scared? Was this a calculated move to protect his throne? Because if Shadeur came out the gate dominating, breaking records, stacking Super Bowl wins like Halloween candy, the whole Brady narrative would have started to crack. And let's not forget, Brady's not just a retired legend. He's in boardrooms now. He's got ownership stakes. He's got influence. So it's not far-fetched to think he might have had the power to steer some conversations behind closed doors. Look, no one's saying this is confirmed, but this is exactly the kind of thing swirling hard in the internet streets right now. And speaking of drama behind closed doors, there's another theory making rounds. This one about Deion Sanders. People inside the league allegedly felt like Coach Prime was a little too powerful, like he was coming for their jobs. And honestly, it adds up. Remember, Shadeur started at Jackson State and then transferred to Colorado to play for his dad. And when Deion became head coach of the Colorado Buffaloes, he didn't waste any time. He named Shadeur the starting quarterback right out the gate. No tryouts, no committee decision. Just boom, he's the guy. That move sent a message. Deion wasn't here for politics. Neither was his son. They were here to run things.
Look at me. You know I love you, right? You love your dad?
Yes.
You love your mom?
Yes.
It's okay to love both of us. You hear me? You don't have to love me and hate her. Or love her and hate me. You don't have to. It's okay. I love all my kids. The love I have for you is special, babe.
Why?
Nobody could take it because God created you separate. You your own entity, baby. You are Shadeur Sanders.
Don't you like everybody the same?
I don't like everybody the same.
So you like Shao less than you like me?
I love all y'all different. I love different attributes that you have. You're my son, dude. You got a wonderful, giving, loving, caring heart. That's who you are. I miss you, boy. Come here. You're a good kid. You got a great heart. Don't you? 1, 2, 3, 4. That's what it is.
There was even a moment caught where Deion was laying down the law with Shadeur reminding him loud and clear that they don't tolerate anything less than focus and discipline. So now imagine being an NFL head coach, sitting pretty in your job, and watching Deion, media savvy, wildly respected, and clearly capable of flipping entire programs, step into the spotlight. You'd be sweating, because if you draft Shadeur, you are also inviting Deion into the building. And if you do, how long before the owner starts wondering if maybe he should be running the show instead of you? So here's where it gets even deeper. A lot of people believe the NFL didn't just pass on Shadeur by accident. There's this theory floating around that he was low-key blackballed, not because of his skills, but because of who his dad is. The idea, if Shadeur gets picked and starts performing, it's only a matter of time before Coach Prime starts showing up too. And that's a problem for a lot of NFL coaches who are clinging to their jobs. Nobody wanted to be the team that accidentally invited Deion Sanders into their building, only to have the owner start wondering if maybe he should be calling the plays. Even Skip Bayless jumped in on this one. And you all know he almost never says anything bad about the NFL machine. But this time, he said what fans had already been whispering. He pointed out that executives and coaches around the league are probably sweating at the thought of Deion becoming an NFL head coach. According to Skip, deep down they're scared. Scared that Deion might eventually take over entire organizations. That fear? It's real. Now imagine being someone like Kevin Stanofsky, or part of the Browns' coaching staff. You're already on thin ice. Your team's been inconsistent, and now you've got Shadeur Sanders and Travis Hunter on your roster. If the team starts next season, 1-5, it's not just bad press, it's full-blown chaos. Fans with pitchforks outside the stadium, screaming for the front office to bring in Coach Prime. That's the nightmare scenario.
All right, you good. My bad. I was hoping that was Shadeur.
And the fans? They're not holding back. Comments started pouring in everywhere. Some saying the league was just scared of Deion taking their jobs in 2 years. Others were defending Shadeur, saying he wasn't in it for the money, but for the love of the game. He wasn't someone they could easily control. He was raised and trained by his father, not shaped by the NFL system, and that rubbed people the wrong way. One fan even said the blackballing wasn't random, it was fear. Fear from coaches, GMs, and front office people that Deion would bring in his own team and push them out. So when you step back and look at the big picture, it wasn't really about stats or potential draft value, it was about politics, power, control. But not everyone's buying into the full conspiracy. A few folks are trying to bring in some logic. One commenter broke things down and gave some helpful context, saying, look, it's not the coach who makes the final draft call. That's on the GM, and the GM works for the owner. Since Tom Brady is now a minority owner, that adds a twist. But it doesn't automatically mean he's pulling all the strings. According to this person, Brady might be in the room, but he's not running the show. And then there was one voice that gave off a more hopeful vibe. They pointed out that drafting Shadeur in the 5th round wasn't even that risky. It's not a top pick. It's not a franchise-shaking move. They said the team could just add him to the roster, see what happens. And if he proves himself, great. If not, no harm done. Let's pause for a second, because some folks might be thinking, well, hey, at least Shadeur got drafted. That's something, right? But nope, not so fast. Because when you look a little closer, what seems like a blessing might actually be a trap dressed up real nice. This situation, it's not as cute as it looks. Here's the backstory people keep forgetting. Deion Sanders and Cleveland already had beef, and it goes way back. Back in 2018, Coach Prime got on Twitter and basically warned every young quarterback to stay far away from the Browns. He gave the team props for their offseason moves, but then said if he were a young quarterback, there was no way he'd go to Cleveland. He even dropped the ultimate shade, saying he'd pull an Eli Manning, meaning he'd refuse to play for them just like Eli did with the Chargers. Savage. Fast forward to now, and guess what? Shadeur ends up drafted by the Browns. Like, how does that happen? And here's where it gets even shadier. Apparently, Tom Brady and the NFL decision makers already knew about that old tweet. It's not like it was hidden. That post has been floating around for years. So if they knew and still sent Shadeur to Cleveland, you've got to wonder what the real plan was.
The Cleveland Browns select Shadeur Sanders, quarterback, Colorado.
The reaction in the draft hall says it all.
And let's not pretend Cleveland fans forgot either. They might love their team, but they don't exactly love Deion. These fans, they hold grudges. So the minute Shadeur steps onto that field, he's not just dealing with the pressure of the game, he's facing a crowd that's already made up their minds based on who his dad is. Boos, side eyes, disrespect, it's all waiting for him. That 5th-round pick, it might not be a favor, it could be a setup.
I want to thank the Cleveland Browns and the GM Andrew Berry for drafting me and giving me an opportunity to fulfill my dreams of playing in the NFL. But I'm going to have to decline this draft pick because they drafted Dillon Gabriel before me, and I will not be embarrassed like that. I'm not some 3rd or 4th string quarterback you can just bring in to be made fun of. Not to mention Cleveland is a boring-ass city, as everyone knows. Even their own LeBron Diddy James left that city to go to Los Angeles.
And now here comes the plot twist. Deshaun Watson, Cleveland's main quarterback, is out for the season with an injury. So naturally, people started thinking, maybe this is Shadeur's shot. Maybe he gets the start, shows what he's got, and writes the ultimate underdog story. A Cinderella moment, right? Yeah, maybe not.
But when he wasn't at the games, we used to turn up.
Really?
I'd be beefing with the whole sideline of those.
We was out there just doing whatever we wanted.
I was watching TV and I had the phone. I was calling.
Put him on the phone. Wait till I get back up again.
Because rumor has it, and we're talking internet streets level conspiracy, the Browns are planning to start Shadeur not to let him shine, but to let him crash and burn. The idea is they'll toss him into the spotlight, let the fans eat him alive, and watch Coach Prime sit there on the sidelines totally powerless. There's talk that the team wants to see if all that ego people were worried about is actually real. That they're going to test him on purpose, not because he isn't good enough, but because they want to break him. That's why some folks think he won't be allowed to start Week 1. Not because he doesn't deserve it, but because they want to mess with his head first. Now let's say they don't give Shadeur the Week 1 start. Let's say they throw him into a full-blown quarterback Hunger Games, where he's got to battle it out with 4 other guys just to earn a shot. That quarterback room, it's packed. First up, you've got Dillon Gabriel, fresh out of Oregon, and picked in the 3rd round. Then there's Joe Flacco. Yeah, that Joe Flacco. Still hanging around the league like your ex who just won't stop texting. Kenny Pickett's also in the mix. Recently traded over from Pittsburgh and trying to resurrect his career. And now in the middle of all that chaos, Shadeur Sanders. That means the Browns are sitting on 5 quarterbacks right now. 5. At this point, it doesn't even feel like a team. It's giving reality TV. And of course, Twitter wasted no time calling it out. People were roasting the Browns for drafting 2 quarterbacks in the same draft while already having a crowded room. One tweet went viral saying this team is a straight-up disaster. And honestly, it's hard to disagree. Because looking at how this is all unfolding, it's starting to feel like Shadeur was set up to fail, like they never intended to give him a real chance. Even Dr. Umar couldn't stay quiet on this one. He stepped in and lit the race card on fire, saying this was bigger than football. According to him, the NFL owners, Commissioner Roger Goodell, and league executives allegedly came together to humiliate and sabotage Shadeur. He wasn't talking bad luck or tough competition. He said this was planned, a calculated takedown of a rising black quarterback tied to one of the most unapologetically black coaches in the game today. Dr. Umar claimed this wasn't just about football, it was about power, image, and keeping the league's gate closed for someone like Deion Sanders. Now, not everyone's signing off on that theory, but the way things have played out, a lot of folks are starting to think these conspiracies aren't so far-fetched, especially with all the smoke swirling around people like Skip Bayless, who didn't hold back. Skip basically accused Tom Brady of being the mastermind behind Shadeur's whole draft day mess. And of course, that called for a response from Tom, or at least some version of one.
There's nothing wrong with being picked 199. It was one of the most important things that happened in my career. You probably won't get as many chances than the guy who gets picked number 1. or number 19. When you're 199, you don't have a ton of chances, but you will get a chance. And I think anyone involved in athletics, as long as you get a chance, you're the one to blame if it doesn't work out for you. And I think a lot of self-defeating attitudes and behaviors that people have is when the first thing that comes out of their mouth if it doesn't work is, well, I just didn't get the opportunity, like I never got a chance. Man, you're out there at practice. If you're making plays, everyone wants good players on the field.
According to a report from Russ Weekland over at the Daily Mail, Brady was not amused. Word is he told close sources he thought Skip was being ridiculous, called him an idiot for even suggesting he had anything to do with Shadeur's draft drama. That same source made something else clear. When it comes to the Raiders, Tom isn't exactly running the show. Sure, he's got a seat at the table as a minority owner, but he doesn't control who they draft or sign. His influence, very limited. And just when you thought it couldn't get any messier, it does. Sources close to the situation spilled that when it comes to the Raiders, it's Pete Carroll and Mark Davis who make the final calls. Sure, they might check in with Tom for his thoughts, but when it comes to decisions like drafting Shadeur or steering clear, that wasn't Brady's call. He didn't have the power to make that kind of move. So, what's Tom's stance on all this? Well, behind closed doors, he's basically saying, don't blame me for this, I'm not the villain here. But let's be real, no matter what he says, people aren't letting him off the hook that easy. The way things are unfolding, all eyes are still locked on Brady and those high-level executives. And when you zoom out and look at the whole mess, there's one thing that's getting clearer by the day. Shadeur Sanders is starting to look like a pawn in a much bigger game. A game he never signed up for. So now it's your turn. What do you think really went down? Was Shadeur set up to fail from the start? Is Tom Brady really innocent? Or is he just playing it smooth while pulling strings behind the scenes? And is all that old drama between Coach Prime and the Browns finally coming back to haunt his son? Sound off in the comments and let us know what side of the story you're on. Because trust me, this saga is far from over. And before you go, hit that like button, smash subscribe, and don't miss the next video on your screen. Because this rabbit hole, it's deep, and we've got receipts for days.